out in the bathroom because the locals don't like being recorded. So I'm about to get my ears clean and a shave. Wish me luck.
Hello.
Hi.
Not bad, right? Haven't been shaved in like a year. All shaved, all clean. Haven't shaved fully for about like a year or so. So this is very interesting. But just had a really cool experience. I kind of just want to throw it out there and talk about it real quick. Everybody here in Mỹ Tho is extremely nice. As I'm being looked at as people walking by, I don't think too many white people come down around here. So everybody is very gracious and kind and courteous. So just had a really good conversation about a woman who knew a little bit of English and just was really excited about it. About talking to me because she knew I knew English. So we had a good conversation. So that was fun. But the reason why I wanted to throw it out there and the reason why I'm recording this entire trip and 30 days challenge, this new 30-day challenge that I'm doing, you know, obviously you're going to be seeing a lot of the good that's happening because that's just what marketing is. You see the things that only the people want to share and show. But there's a lot of things that happen that aren't great. And I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a dear friend, and we were talking about, you know, this new product, this new service that we're offering. And we began becoming extremely frustrated with one another because we were asking ourselves the hard questions, but we couldn't answer any of them. And some of them were, you know, what does this new product stand for? What do we stand for? What do I stand for? What does Waterfront Media stand for? And you know, quite frankly, at that moment, we couldn't necessarily answer it. And that's not a bad thing, but it's just, you know, we were asking ourselves why. What's our reasoning? What's the purpose? And again, these are really hard questions to answer, and you know, we found ourselves getting frustrated at one another because, you know, I didn't know the answer, he didn't know the answer. We kept going back and forth, etc., etc. So I say all of that to say is that it's okay if you don't have the answer. It's okay if you don't. But what is okay is if you're constantly moving. So I came to this epiphany that, again, I said this at the very beginning, but I'm slowly realizing and defining it myself. In order to be a creative, in order to be somebody of substance, in order to get yourself out there, in order to become quote-unquote successful, you have to be able to constantly deliver and constantly create. The people who are successful in marketing and their reasoning as to why you're choosing their service over somebody else is because of a couple of things. So let me backtrack a little bit. Over the course of the past, you know, 3-4 days, I think I've seen close to a couple thousand businesses. Maybe have traveled, well, at this point, because we came here, at this point we probably traveled, I don't know, maybe let's just say 100 miles. I don't even think it's that much, but let's just say 100 miles. And to see 1,000 businesses, and besides this trip, actually no, besides this trip, I'd say we probably traveled 5 miles. And in that 5-mile radius has actually been 1,000 businesses, easily. So how does one stand out in the crowd? And it's delivering a quality product, it's getting referrals, have people talking about you, and then at the same time, you getting your message out there to the people in the community. And then eventually it spreads and spreads and spreads, and then people know about you and people go to you, and then they keep coming back. And it's taught me a lot, because if these businesses who don't have, in Vietnam, who don't have the resources that we have in America, if they're able to do it, what's your excuse? And what I've come to the conclusion is that we're afraid to do the hard work. Meaning, we believe that because we're smart, good looking, educated, whatever it may be, that we have a sense of entitlement. And what I've come to appreciate during my short period thus far is that they're not afraid to do the hard work. They're passionate. They love what they do. They embrace it. They don't take it for granted. They're hardworking. And so it's inspired me to constantly just get my message out there, my purpose out there, my reasoning for doing all this. And I got asked a question the other day, what is my dream? And in all reality, I don't think the dream is about me. It's about providing, educating, and providing a life for people who I interact with, who decide to be a part of my journey, our journey, and making a life that's better than the one I had, which is still a great life, but providing a life for people who are after me, whoever that may be. So here's my commitment to deliver and creatively tell my story as best as I possibly can, through pictures, through video, through, I don't know, blogging. I mean, blogging could work. Some of it's going to be recorded, some of it's not, because I feel as if that the great stories are the ones that aren't necessarily told through video and aren't necessarily told through pictures. So my commitment is to be the best person I possibly can be to those who I interact with, those who interact with me, to constantly create. And I think by doing all of that, by being creative, by constantly just putting yourself out there in weird situations, you can then answer those hard-hitting questions. You can answer those hard-hitting questions because it unlocks a particular part of your brain. Because this trip in particular, we sat down at a coffee shop, and we were forcing ourselves to answer these questions. We were like, what is this? What is that? How is this going? What is happening? How can we do this better? And I don't think those are the right questions to be asked. I think you should kind of just let it happen naturally. As things turn around in your life, as you grow, as you succeed, as you learn, as you adapt, you're able to unlock a part of your brain that will allow you to answer those questions. And it's okay that you can't answer them right now, because eventually you will. But the only way that you can and will is if you put yourself out there, you do the hard work, you become vulnerable, and by becoming vulnerable, not everybody, but hopefully you'll succeed.